X-Men Red, issue number 18, The Fall of X. We are finally here. What we've been waiting for, what we've been looking forward to, the great war between the mutants, Genesis versus Storm. Man, this is just an incredible story. And they said something in the beginning, like we've never had a mutant civil war. Of course, we've had the brotherhood of Magneto and Xavier, but that has never been truly on a global space like this. This is truly the first time mutants have gone to war amongst themselves, a civil war, if you may. Man, it's epic. It begins basically with Genesis summoning her own island, Araco, to rise, to face the island of Krakoa, which is now not Krakoa anymore. It is now called Kaorak. And now we find they have this issue is it's just moments. We have this moment, these two islands are fighting, they are behemoths, titans fighting against each other. It's basically two philosophies going against each other. Genesis is for the strong survive. This world is for the strong. Only the strong get to dictate what happens to everybody else. Storm is more fighting for everybody. Those are the old ways. Now we should embrace peace. Everybody is equal. Those we should not seek war all the time. They fight. And we have this moment where Genesis and now Storm go against each other. And you must understand that these two are Omega mutants. Of course, Storm, Omega mutant of the weather. Genesis, Omega mutant of vegetation and plant life. So they fight. And now, Storm's game plan is to get the annihilation stuff away from Genesis, because the annihilation stuff is what is whispering and moving Genesis forward. Because the stuff, it basically just wants war and war and war and war. It's just about having chaos, and that's why it has bonded to Genesis. So Storm tries to take out the staff, but the staff whispers, miss, and Storm misses, and she strikes Genesis directly. But when she strikes Genesis directly, remember that Genesis had the Purity Sword. When she struck this, she loses grip of the sword, and the sword goes back to its master, the Blue Knight, the one who he basically summons the dead mutants under his thrall, and they are fighting against John Fire, his former lieutenant general soldier. So they're fighting each other. Then we have Ora Serata with now Genesis forces that are going against Storm's forces who are being led right now with Da Costa. And then there's this moment where she's like looking at Da Costa, and now Da Costa she's like, what is Da Costa mumbling? What is he saying? And Da Costa basically says, never stare into the sun, and blinds Ora Serata. I know Ora Serata is just a giant eyeball with little arms at the tip of her eye of her eyeball, and a little body on top of it. She looks weird, funny looking, but I've always said mutants, they have weird abilities, weird body shapes. So she's blinded. Then we are back again to Blue and John Fire fighting. John Fire basically, this thing is basically wrapping up. There's not really much, any intrigue. It's just basically wars, but it's kind of wrapping up, and you can kind of tell by the middle of the story how it's going to end. John Fire wins, gets the sword, cuts Blue in half. That's settled. We move now to the war front. We have Ora Serata with her forces going against Da Costa and his forces on the ground. Then now we have this moment where the one with the fisherman king, or the fisherman, the fisher king. Forgive me if I've forgotten his name. Let's go with the fisher king. He was bonded with Zillo, the one who holds the history of Araco. He's bonded, and then he goes after Oracerata. And now he makes the ultimate sacrifice, because what was keeping him alive was Zillo, with those tentacle things. So when Zillo now goes and attaches itself to Oracerata, the Fisher King dies. Then we are back now with Storm, who's basically pleading with Genesis to end the war. You know, she's basically saying, when will this end? How can it end? We have two continents fighting each other, Kaorak and Arako. The world is boiling, oceans are drying up, blood everywhere, death everywhere. And Genesis is basically saying, with the end of this world, that is how it will end. She says that this world is for the strong, and if you are truly an Omega mutant as you claim to be, you understand this in the rawest sense. And then she overpowers Storm, and they're basically having this, the bad guy monologue. She fights for the strong, and she basically says that everything that lives fights to survive. Each breath is a battle. Simply to function, your body makes slaves of billions of microscopic fungi. So her whole thing is, the strong survive, the strong trample the weak. That's her everything. And that moment where she has overpowered Storm, the Annihilation staff whispers, talks to Storm, Aurora, and he pitches to Storm. And basically now we find out that the staff was actually using Genesis. The real target of the staff in the end was to be bonded with the Storm, because he now whispers and says, Storm, you are dying. Your body is turning against you. Your organs fail, one by one. Death, who you have danced with so many times, ready to take you in his arms. But I can offer a way out, a reprieve. Now that's where now the mask, as I tell you, it whispers. It tries to bring you upon its side. Whispers those little things in your heart which you want. But Aurora, she's smart. She says nothing. And we found out why she doesn't say anything. The staff continues. Now it explains how it came to be, how it joined with Genesis, and now we find out what it really truly wants. It says, Genesis was my way into this world. The need in her for confirmation of her world view, like I said, this is a battle of philosophies, was a beacon calling me from Amnet, as I was called out to that dark world from the lands beyond. But Genesis there was a pause, and a note of cold contempt crept into the insidious whisper. So now we found out the staff hated Genesis, never wanted Genesis. Genesis was simply a tool, which is ironic because the staff is a tool. But now we find out who is the tool and who is the one who is in control. Genesis was never in control. The staff was in the control. The Annihilation staff was in control. Genesis was but a tool. And he continues, outgrown her. Genesis has outgrown her use. It took far too long the first time to cajole her from her endless prison to further conquest. Given the choice, she will maintain a siege, maintain her power, maintain a status quo that serves her. And then now we get to the meat of it. This is what the staff wants. And I will grow. The voice purred, rich and hungry. To satisfy that desire, I must at least make the offer. Storm says nothing. Your needs are more noble. Now he's appealing to Storm's nature, because now Storm is a noble person. She does not seek personal glory. She does not want to win this war. She wants everybody to live, mutants to be safe and alive. And now he's whispering those things to Storm, trying to appeal to her. Your needs are more noble. You are not motivated as much by personal glory. But I don't concern myself with motivations, only with results. And when you turned down Uranus, you showed that your results were this way. With me in your hand, you'll be right in all you say and all you do. Arako will embrace your wisdom. Earth will devote itself to your cause. The future of human and mutant kind will be yours to shape. Harmony and equality will be yours to enforce. And in such treatment, not what you deserve. Is that not the least that is due to the goddess that you are, appealing to her ego? And then now, in this whole monologue, this whispers, Storm says nothing. Now the staff is angry, it's irritated. Why have you not said anything? Then now we find out Storm's plan after all what it was. And she says, I have heard everything that you have said except one thing, the word miss. and she strikes the staff and destroys the staff. Genesis now, she has lost, and then Lactoka sees it all, and now the war is over. So now it's basically, we are coming to an end. The war is over. The last stragglers are killed. The ones who don't want to give up, they have to give up. Or Aserata now, who is now called Zilora, she has now made it clear the war was fought on false law and false history. Let there be an end to such things. Let there be an end to this. I, Zilora, have spoken. Who will defy me? Who will defy me for a broken mask? The mutants who are on Genesis' side, they stopped and they have ended their war. The Future King is dead. The Acosta is a bit sad that he made that sacrifice. And Caesar, basically, don't beat yourself about it. It is what it is. This is how it had to go down. We fast forward. Blue and John Fire are reunited. They're back together. The two islands are now united as one. Kaorak and Arako embrace. The two islands are one, the old and the new, in harmony to build something newer. And in this union of opposites, the true spirit of Okara is reborn. And then all of this is being monologued by none other than Apocalypse and Sabarnor. This was his plan all along. And you have to remember, Apocalypse is a master planner, a mastermind. He's not more of fighting physically. Him is the one who plans and plays everybody else like a pawn on a chessboard. So this was his plan all along. The mutants to be united, the islands to be joined together for the coming days. So now Storm comes to Apocalypse and basically gives the breakdown of how the landscape is. This guy is in the mountains. The Spire Vile have their secrets. Sobunar is now a hermit in the depths of the oceans. And then we even have an orc who has claimed space for his demon king. Each territory is deciding for itself what peace means. And this is what Storm wanted since the beginning. Peace for the mutants to forge a new age. An age of peace. Because you have to understand, Arako's entire history, and or most of their history, has been a history of war. Storm wants them to start a new journey. A journey of peace, and see where that might lead. Genesis is better, but now Genesis goes back to Orchis, and we have now kind of like an epilogue of sorts. She's gone and taken over Orchis. We find their bodies laid over all over the place. And then in the background, curiously, we see Nightcrawler in a chamber with her two children, War and the other one. So that X-Men Red epic. If it's kind of what I expected all along. Of course, Storm was going to win. The war is over. But now it's kind of interesting to see because now Genesis has taken over Orchis. So we have to see where that leads. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Again, I am no comic expert. I am no comic historian. I read what I enjoy, what I like. I talk about it. See you next time. Cheers.